your sweet redemption. I will never let you down. Will it ever get funny? Oh, I wonder, honey, baby, how you make me sway. You say it will. I'm caught in your addictive brain. You say it will, yeah. I'm crossing the obsessive line.
Well, happy Saturday, everyone.
Hey there, y'all.
I am David, the producer. This is Juliet Miranda, and you are watching the virtual happy hour, and we have a kick-ass show today.
Yeah, although I think I still might be a little drunk from last night.
Oh, that was a problem.
That was a long
That
ass
was a big
night.
problem. We had an impromptu party. We were at a bar here locally in New Orleans. So we live down here in the quarter and happened to run into people that we've never met before, became fast friends.
Yeah, and we decided it was a great idea to bring everybody back here.
We were seeing dead relatives by about 10:30.
I still am. And also, y'all, I just want to put this out there right now. If I put my sunglasses on mid-show, it's not because I'm stealing David's identity. It's because I injured my eye a couple of days ago, and these fucking lights are killing me right now. So with any luck, I can make it through, but just FYI.
She says she scratched her cornea. I say it's because she fell down the stairs drunk. I'm just saying.
Okay, there's spiral stairs. If I fell down them, I would be dead.
Circle.
I'd be dead. Yeah.
That's my favorite part, watching you die in a circle. That's just, that would be classic. Well, we have some awesome people from Compound Media on here. We've had a lot of great guests from Compound. We've had Anthony Cumia, we've had Dave Landau, we've had Geno Visconti. Did I say great though? I'll keep him out of the great category.
I love Geno. You be nice to him.
I know you too. But today we have Bill Schulz and also Joanne Nosuchinsky. Yes, I said it right.
Did it.
Damn it.
Well
I said
done.
It right. Yes, she was going to be Joanne Johnson for the whole show if I didn't do it right. So, but they're from the show Mornin. We're so thrilled to have them, and let's get them up here.
Absolutely.
There is Bill, and there's Joe.
Hey, y'all.
Hi.
Thanks for having us, guys.
Oh, love it. Love having you guys on. We're big fans of Compound Media. We're big fans of your show Morning.
Thank you so much.
We've been, I think, right when Anthony started the network and started monetizing it, we were in there right in the beginning. So we got on early into the Compound Media bandwagon because there's so many just great shows on there, including yours.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, it's awesome. But you guys have been off for a whole week. What the hell's up with that?
That was all Joanne's idea.
Listen, apparently our producers need vacations.
Are you
working at
them?
Compound is hard.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, real time. Yeah. Jared must just, he pushes a button every 3 seconds, right? Yeah,
Exactly.
That's a tough gig. Tough gig.
Yeah.
So you guys have been off for the whole week, though. What'd you guys do on your vacation?
Oh God, I'll let you answer that one first, Joe, so I can come up with a lie.
I've had an exciting week because my boyfriend and I just bought a car.
What?
Ooh.
And
Fancy.
by my boyfriend and I mean he bought a car.
I was gonna say, yeah.
And I'm helping to pay the insurance on the car every month.
So you're not paying the insurance
yet.
Okay.
So we've been driving around. We went to the beach. We went hiking. It's incredible living in New York City. If you don't have a car, you just feel stranded. You don't want to take public transportation. So the addition of this car to our lives is like a saving grace during this time.
Why don't you just do a zip car or something like that? That seems like a huge investment.
Adds up, Bill. That adds up like crazy. And we still have to get to the Zipcar facility, so have to take an Uber there. It's like there's a lot of moving parts, so just having your own car is so much better.
Wow,
We're actually thinking of selling our car now that we're here in the French Quarter because we use it maybe once a month.
Right. Yeah, that cost justification. We're going the other way. We have a car now. We have to pay for parking, which in the French
parking
Quarter
here in the quarter
is
complicated.
It's
I mean,
complicated,
you can't park
expensive.
on the street.
Yeah, we're going the other way.
How is New Orleans doing, by the way, guys? Joe and I had a writer for Daily Beast, and his name escapes me, but he's based in NOLA. I don't know if that's what the locals call it.
No.
They don't.
But we got him probably Oh gosh, a couple of days after the bar started like slowly opening, but they were only taking reservations. It was very like it was very planned out whether or not you could go in or out of them. But how are things now?
It's a ghost town, man. I mean, there's no tourists coming in. It's all locals, and maybe a couple people from like surrounding states that can drive here. Those are really the only tourists that get here, like from Mississippi and Texas, which are.
Yeah, I don't know.
Those are the kinds of tourists that make you want to stay in for a little while.
But I mean, the restaurants are open.
Statues, being resurrected.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. Well, it's conflicting here because the bars are open, but you're not allowed to actually drink at the bar. You have to get a table, and you have to be all socially distanced and everything.
Right.
It's tricky, but we're all survivors. We're figuring it out.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are still ahead of us though, because our bars are open, but you cannot go inside unless it's like bathroom or something like that. Yeah.
Oh, you're just outdoor seating right now. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I work at a restaurant on the weekends. I have a shift later tonight.
Not bragging.
And it's, our capacity, we just have 7 outdoor tables, but I'm still making pretty decent money because I'm the only employee working the entire restaurant.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So I am taking the order. I'm a bartender, so I'm making the drinks. I'm delivering the food. I am bussing and cleaning the tables. So
Oh my God, they won't even give you support for that?
I have one manager on who will help me if I need it. But, those 18% tips I'm getting feel really low after I've just been sprinting around the entire restaurant. But it does feel good to get back into the swing of it, as I'm sure you guys feel like going out, that sense of normalcy that we've all been talking about, this new normalcy. It is nice to be able to get back into that routine.
Well, you know why it's only 18%?
Why?
Because you're not good at what you do.
Oh, yes, right.
The other thing is the mask covers the moneymaker.
Oh,
it's true.
Yeah.
I used to
think
laugh
of it.
at people's bad jokes all the time and give them a smile, but now they can't tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. They just think you're just dead-eyeing them.
Exactly. Yeah. There's no soul.
Exactly.
By the way, ding, 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 ding. They'd be right.
But yeah, it's funny. I heard y'all talking about rats the other day. We have an abundance of rats in New Orleans now. There are 2 of them that live down in our courtyard that I've named. I want to put little hats and shirts on them and get them to sweep our balcony, but David is afraid that they're going to take his wallet or something.
Oh yeah, these things you can put a saddle on them. I mean, I know New York City rats are big, and we've been to New York City quite a few times. We love New York, loved it. We even thought about moving there quite a few years back.
Briefly.
Until we ended up coming here to New Orleans. We're like, nah, this is really our place.
Yeah.
The one place I've always thought of that I could live in other than New York would be New Orleans. One of my favorite places on planet Earth.
Well,
Yeah, it's
picture
great.
it like living with 10,000 Geno Viscontis. Think of it.
All right, I retract my goal.
I went to New Orleans for my 30th birthday. I did a girls trip.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, it was a great time. There was a shooting right by our hotel in the quarter.
What hotel were you at?
At like a Marriott, I think it was.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the Marriott is where there
That's
are
in
a
a
lot of
sketchy area.
shootings.
Yeah.
I wish I knew that beforehand.
Yeah.
But we did do some of the touristy things, and most notably, I remember we got our tarot cards read.
Mhm.
And one of the cards, my present card, the card that was explaining, my life at the moment, I got the devil card.
That's not necessarily a bad thing, though.
Really? Okay, because I felt like crap for the whole next year after that card. So thanks, New Orleans. Appreciate it.
It just depends on how they interpret it. I mean, sometimes it can actually represent good things like
So
change.
do you get your cards read a lot? Do you actually, not being a tourist, do you still go and do these things?
No, we did it once the first time
As
we
tourists,
came here.
yeah.
But actually, my mother is a self-professed witch, and she taught me
Oh
how to
my
read
God.
tarot cards when I was a kid. So we figured,
That's cool.
if I ever need money, I'll just go out into the Jackson Square and read tarot cards for a living.
Tourists like me will fall for it. We'll do it.
Well, yeah, and you can tell people anything. I mean, and they'll believe it. I'd be like, hey, this devil card, this means change is coming your way and you're going to feel good about it. And, I'll get a tip.
On your way, yeah, there's your tip. And
exactly.
Rubes.
I'm kind of dork that if I'm visiting an area, I will do all the walking tours available. I'm also a virgin, but that's neither here nor there. I think the best I've ever done in my entire life were in New Orleans, and one of them was, of course, I did the haunted tour.
Me too.
Did you do it? Did you get the story of that one doctor that was in the French Quarter
With the house?
Strange experiments on people. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh man, I still have nightmares about
And
that.
I think a season of American Horror Story was based on that man and that house.
Yeah.
It was, they did one on, it was filmed in the French Quarter, and it was about Delphine Lalaurie, who was the kind of first serial killer of New Orleans, so to speak, and she did terrible things to all of her slaves and everything. She was quite the lady of the night, I suppose.
Would have been a fun hang.
And a good biopic Joe could star in. I mean,
Yes.
Ooh,
There you
juicy
go.
roll.
yeah.
Well, actually, Joe and I have something in common.
You do.
Yes, we're both
Okay,
models.
Beth?
Yeah,
We're both models?
Yeah, I was a model for Sears catalog when I was 4 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, we're this close.
Oh,
to
the
being in the
softer
same-
side of Sears. I love that.
I rock those jammies, I'm telling you.
Do you still have the actual catalog with you in it?
My grandmother had it. Somehow it got lost along the way, but I have a picture of it because they actually document their catalogs all through the
Yeah,
years.
it's actually available online.
Yeah, I found it online and I have it
That's
buried
amazing.
somewhere.
That's great.
It's-
We still make get a lot of miles out of Joe's early model work, which we probably shouldn't, because I think it encourages like a certain pedophile type viewership. But yeah, we got we always run like really young ones of her when you're doing the cell phone one.
Sure. So basically, when I was 16, I signed up to do stock photography, which means they dress me in different things and they give me certain props to hold because advertisers might want to use that image for their product in the future.
Right.
So
One of
as a
these?
result, yes, totally. I'm on a phone. And one of them was a track phone ad. If you go onto Getty Images, you can still find all of these.
Oh, God.
Wow.
And so, yeah, I'm just 16 laughing, holding a phone. I got paid one flat fee of, I believe it was $200 or $300. And I will still pop up occasionally.
Wow, that's awesome.
But I don't get paid for it, which sucks. I wish every time they used my image, I'd get paid. But
Oh, flat fees suck.
I know.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Well, you got $200. My mother didn't spent my whole fortune
I know, she
in modeling.
squandered your
Yeah,
childhood.
dare she.
squandered it. Didn't see a penny. I think it was probably about $20 though.
Like, yeah, back then, I mean, when was that?
Yeah.
40s?
Shushy.
Well, either way, that's my kind of mom. The only way I would ever want to have kids is if I could make money off of them. Other than
That's
that
what they're good for.
point,
Yeah.
Yeah, David has kids and I do not. And if I did ever have them, I would probably sell them out to the circus, I think.
Thank you. Yeah. Let them earn their keep. That's what we're losing in this country. I hate child labor laws. Let them work hours and hours. Come on.
Right?
Those pesky labor
Are there
laws.
no workhouses? I thought Ebenezer Scrooge had it right.
Hey, and actually, we have something in common. I just thought of this. We have something in common with Bill as well.
We do?
Yes,
Oh,
we
yeah.
both.
I'm so sorry.
I know. You grew up in Lake Forest.
I did. Did you?
We grew up in, I grew up in
LaGrange.
LaGrange for her and Oak Lawn for me.
Okay, very close. I have relatives in Oak Lawn.
Oh, do you really?
Yes.
Everyone in Oak Lawn used to call people up by you cake eaters.
As in, let them eat cake.
Well, yeah, they were the rich kids. We weren't so rich.
No.
No, my grandmother's side of the family. There's a lot of them from Oak Lawn. Yeah. On my
Very
dad's
cool.
side.
When did you leave them? When did you get to New York?
1998.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
98. So you still went to high school there.
And I left. I've lived in New York. I've realized this recently. This is how old I'm getting. I've lived in New York longer than I've lived in Illinois. But I went from. I graduated high school, went to Boston for 4 to 5 years, and then from there to New York.
Wow. And you're originally from Jersey, right, Joe?
Yes, Monmouth County. I loved it. I love New Jersey. I'm such a Jersey girl. But I've been in New York City for 10 years. So I think I've had mice, I've had bed bugs. So I'm a real New Yorker.
Yeah.
Well, what brought you guys to Compound Media?
Oh gosh. Well,
It's a good story.
Huh?
It's a good story.
I'll let Joe fill in the Joe part, which was actually the original name of the show, but people were like, it's too wordy. But I knew Anthony Cumia from a show that Joanne and I both used to do separately on Fox News.
Oh, Red Eye, yeah.
Yes, Red Eye. And I was a co-host, and then she got me fired and took over my position.
Lies. Lies.
Oh God, let's go back to that. Let's re-explore that whole Joanne's a witch thing. But I knew Anthony Cumia because he was a regular guest on Red Eye. And as a result, my co-host Greg Gutfeld and Andy Levy, we would go on Opie and Anthony a lot. And so Cumia would have me become a guest frequently on the Compound Network when it was first starting out. And at one point, they asked me if I wanted to have my own show. And I checked my schedule and paused for about 2 seconds. And this is what I'm such an a-hole. Although I forgot, we can swear. I'm such an asshole.
Yes.
That immediately I was like, well, the thing that I got in mind is like I would want to co-host. So immediately, like, of them being kindly offering me a gig, I'm like, well, okay, but what I want is for you to pay double so that I can have a female co-host and do some sort of like kind of like Ryan Seacrest, Kelly Ripa type thing. And they're like, that's not happening. And so here I did it on my own, and I would have various guest, not paid, female co-hosts. And then that's where Joanne comes in, and I'll let her continue from there.
Yeah, so a few years ago, I left Fox News because I eventually do want to continue my acting career, and Fox was not really the best place to be doing that.
Wait, why?
I know, shocking.
I see a lot of acting there.
Hollywood loves Fox people. What? So I was just bartending is what that amounted to. I was just bartending while I was auditioning, and I was getting really tired of it. So the opportunity came, well, first via Twitter. Social media now is incredible how it can connect people.
Well, and Joe, only to interrupt you once, I apologize. But I will say this is the one time Twitter has ever given me anything good. Like one time in my entire life. Sorry, continue.
There was a viewer of Bill's show who reached out to both of us and was like, you should have Joanne on as a guest. And I was like, yeah, I'd totally come on. I have nothing else going on. So I went on the show, and it was great, and it was fun. And the opportunity came for me to co-host with Bill. And I was like, great, I don't have to bartend as much. Perfect. And it worked out nicely. And it's just really funny because I took Bill's job essentially on Red Eye back in the day.
But was that hard to do?
Well, no, because they didn't tell me the truth. I was just first told he was on
news.
I know.
Did not.
I was just told he was on vacation, and I was
hiatus.
I was just like filling in, and then I was just told he left. I didn't know all the details. So now the joke is I'm just trying to take Bill's job again. That I'm just gonna take over the show, and he'll be gone.
Well, and no one gets the inside joke, but yeah, the opener, our opener is
the poison.
Yeah, she poisons me, and then all of a sudden it just goes from Morning with Bill and Joe to just Joe moves up and I die. Yeah.
I think it's genius. It's perfect. So how many years does that put you two together as a team then?
How long's it been, Joe? Was it been 3?
I think it's been 2.5.
Okay, I think it'll be what, like October? Will it be 3?
I think February.
February. Okay. Yeah. You're right.
Okay, and you have a new time slot.
Yeah. Boy, I got a lot of emails to do. They gave us a big heads up on that one, by the way.
Uh-oh.
Tell Keith the Cop, aka Les Moonves, to stop fucking with the time slots.
Well, I mean, I think this is public knowledge. Keith is no longer with us.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
He's not dead.
Oh no,
That sounded like he's no longer with us. No,
I mean, for a second I had to pause because, like, wait a minute, did something happen?
he's
to
no
him?
longer with
retired.
Poison, you know.
Action. Yeah.
Wow, that's news.
Yeah, well, it was very
Okay.
amicable leave. It was a very stressful job from his end. But yeah, so we it's not that much of a difference, but we used to start at 10:30 a.m. and now it is at 10.
At 10, right?
Yeah.
So that's going to be a problem for you. You're not a morning guy, which is very ironic for the name of your show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so how did that happen?
I'm very much not happy about the hour to begin with. Yeah, that was of the many nice perks of Red Eye. God, I love the healthcare. But of the many nice perks, like, we didn't have to. I don't know about you, Joe, but like we didn't have to really show up till like 12:30, 1 p.m.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would show up with a lunch and immediately just eat my lunch at my desk. That was like the first thing I did at work every
Very
day.
on brand.
That is
But the time is not that much different. I will say, I'm sure it's not a change to make a change, because you guys know companies don't do that. There's
No.
a process behind everything. But like the one thing that, and I'm sure it's good for Geno, Visconti, and Aaron Berg's viewers, because it's on later. They used to be before us,
right.
and now they're on in the afternoon. But I got to tell you, man, like, we were a very, and I hate this word, symbiotic 2 shows where one sort of bleeded into the other.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sad that we're gonna lose that a little bit.
Well, yeah, that's true, because Gino's always on your guys' show, and you guys always go on Gino's show. So yeah, you're gonna miss that.
Viewers will be happy to know that Geno versus Geno is still going to exist. But I worry
It will be different. Like, I know it's called In Hot Water, but it was more like a really cold shower in the morning. It's like, even before you have your cup of coffee, which is our show, you're like, let me just put the shower on freezing and step in and just be jolted awake. So now, it's a little bit of an ease into the morning with us at 10.
you can mindset. I didn't actually think about that.
You can move into your more hardcore stuff in the afternoon.
Yeah. Well, and Joe, tell them exactly what you would get anesthetized to as far as when you were having your morning yogurt, and what would you be watching while In Hot Water was on?
Yeah, the issue is I became so used to all of the X-rated material that they would share that it would not be uncommon for me to be eating my yogurt while watching some hardcore man-on-man action.
Oh, yeah.
It goes great with cornflakes.
We've almost gotten kicked off of a plane because of that.
Yeah.
Start from the beginning.
Yeah, do tell.
We were flying back home from Aruba, actually, and we're on the plane, and you're watching it, and there's somebody sitting next to him.
In Hot Water. I downloaded some episodes, because with the Compound Media app, you can do that. By the way, everyone in the chat right now, go out and get on Compound Media, subscribe, because between Morning and In Hot Water, Anthony Cumia, all the other shows, you got to see this network. Okay, so take it.
So you are just engrossed in it, and when you get transfixed on something, you forget that there are people around you. So he's just giggling and laughing in his chair. There's somebody sitting next to him, and they're showing. I don't remember what it was. I think it was something about vomiting and porn.
It was man on man porn.
Or it was man on man porn.
Yeah,
whatever.
of course.
Well, the chick next to you is getting all riled up, and she keeps looking at me like I'm supposed to do something about this. And I don't. I'm just going to, fall into my own little world. So she calls the stewardess over and is all like, Ma'am, he's offending me by what he's watching.
Yeah.
So we had to.
I had to set the Sky Waitress straight.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did. I turned it off
No,
immediately.
he turned it off immediately.
They were going to give me a parachute. I mean, that's
they
how
were like,
close I
we're
was
going to
getting
have
off
to
that
ask you to
flight.
leave, sir. And you're like,
Well,
I don't want to go.
I'm just curious why she was so upset. Like, were both of your hands visible to her, or was one hiding? Like, that
I'll
would
have
be
to
my
think
only
about that.
concern.
You know what? Actually, I had it on the tray at a 45-degree angle,
where
so I could
everybody
have both
could
my
see
hands
it.
on my chunk.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it. Yeah.
No, the whole plane could see it. You were projecting it onto the roof, I think.
Oh, well, and by the way, it happens to actual employees while they're doing the show. Like Aaron, there was more than one show where Aaron was like in an airport or something, and he was just swooping in, and you can see
I remember that.
Skyping, you can still see the hot dude on dude action,
Mhm.
and like there would be people next to him getting angry at him for seeing the gorgeous love that is, a little D&B.
Yeah. Love is love.
And that would happen live on air while he was waiting in the lounge or something. Yeah.
I should have screamed out. Now I think about it. Don't judge me. Don't judge me.
Yeah, that's a hate crime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With all these, people getting so woke.
Right.
All right. So I actually have to ask this because I know it's a segment on your show, but I'm stealing it for the moment. And I want to know, Joe, what did you dream about last night?
Oh, I love it. That's my new favorite segment.
Yeah, I slept pretty solid last night because I had a bunch of wine. A bunch of wine. But one of my more recent dreams that I remember is because I'm going to be going back to studio. I've been Skyping in for the last 3 months, and we've now been given the go-ahead to go back to studio with, strict sanitizing procedures and like no outside fans coming or anything like that, just staff and maybe a guest to show. But in this dream, it's like, these anxiety dreams. I'm sure other people are having them during this pandemic where you're like, why am I surrounded by people who are trying to touch me? Or, something like that. But in this one, I go back to studio and there's way too many people there and we're all sitting way too close to each other and no one cares. And it's like, it didn't even look like our studio though. It kind of looked like Star Trek. Which I haven't watched, but it was like a control room and we're all just like goofing off. And I'm like, I don't know that this is responsible. So that dream, we don't even really have to interpret that one because it's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, that you hate Bill. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
You're terrified.
yes.
Yeah, we get it.
That's a given.
The ship is going to crash and burn.
Woman, why do you not just get tested already? And of course, I'm talking about STDs, but also for COVID, because, like, again, her boyfriend has got the antibodies. He's already had it. So I'm
okay.
tested. Find out.
Well, that's why I haven't, because I mean, it's likely that I was exposed to it, but because I was asymptomatic, they're saying asymptomatic people who were carriers likely don't show the antibodies in their blood samples. So I also tend to pass out with needles. So I don't really want to do that to myself.
Yeah. No.
And even
you want to find out the antibodies. Yeah.
Knowing if I have it or not is not going to affect the way I exist. I'm still going to be mindful of distance. I'm still going to wear a mask. Like I'm working at a restaurant outside and I still wear a mask. Knowing I have the antibodies doesn't mean I'm going to like not wear it, because people don't know that. People want to see someone working and being safe and all of that. So I don't really want to get a needle stuck in me and get a vial of blood taken. So I'm okay.
No, you're not okay with that, but you're okay with trolling New York Yankees and the third string, right? That's fine.
I really am.
I love that you saw that one. That was glorious.
That was some of my best work.
That was one of my latest, most favorite Geno versus Geno's.
Some of my best work.
I can't believe that he actually hung on for as long as he did after hearing that story. I'm like, this guy's a tool.
Yeah. For those who don't know, who haven't seen the show, they should tune in the future for
Yes.
Geno versus Geno. It just started out as debating random topics, and then it's since fleshed into who is cringier in their personal life. We did a diary segment because Geno keeps several, where we would each read entries from our diaries. We've run out of
that's
entries.
douchey.
Journal, Joe.
Yes, his man journal.
Yeah.
And now we're just reading old text messages to see who has more or less text game. And so
Geno's texts play out like a series of emojis and cat faces.
Ding, 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 ding. Yeah. Oh, that is his brand. Yeah.
Well, and now that I know how he texts, I'm now seeing when he pulls those tricks on me and Bill.
Yeah.
We're in a group text with Geno, and he'll do these hee-hees and these emoji faces, and I'm like, no, you can't pull that on me now because I know your tricks.
The favorite one is, and like I always thought Morning was the gayest show on Compound. In Hot Water,
Nope.
yeah, In Hot Water really beat us. But the other thing is, like, and I know this would probably shock Compound Media subscribers, but I don't do emojis. Never have. And
Here to you.
Yeah, thank you. But like that's all Geno does. And like Joe, and maybe he does different emoji game with, say, the Alex Engelberts of the world. But when the ones he uses with Joe and I, his favorite one is the crying, laughing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like that's his fucking jam.
Well, and the thing to keep in mind when reading these texts is the fact that he does speech to text.
Yeah,
That's how he texts everyone. We see him do it in the green room, so he has to tell his phone, cry laughing emoji.
Wow, someone should record that.
I think this is how he thinks. He just sees this in his face.
It's so funny because we've met Geno a few times. Well, we met him once in Chicago, and he texts you constantly. The only thing he hasn't sent you is a dick pic yet, but that's coming. By the way, I know.
Oh, here's hoping.
But we've hung out with Geno, and he's one of the smartest guys when you meet him in person. Sober, mind you, sober. He's one of the funniest, smartest guys. But then when you look at his text, you go, "That's 11-year-old girl."
Yes, yeah, that's it. That is it. Yeah.
Really
We texted him last night and said, "Hey, give us some dirt on Bill and Joe."
Yeah, and he said, absolutely, let me think about it. And then I got a cat
Ghosted us.
face and then nothing. So
Cat face and ghosted.
Wow. You know what? He's still thinking about it.
I know.
I'm guessing so. Yeah.
It's so rare that I hear thinking and Geno in the same.
He's a thinking man's man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've actually known Geno. Oh boy, probably over a decade.
Wow.
I'm so sorry.
You admit that?
Yeah, and I knew Joe. I knew Geno back when he looked like this horrible promo shot when he was trying to be an actor.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the ones we use all the time. He looks like a white Sinbad. So they get the box.
The ones that are way overlit. I've seen those. Those shots are still on Google, and they are awful.
They're both. We use them all the time. They're amazing. But I was at this place called Angry Wade's, which he kind of lived near. And by live near, I mean he was living in his car. No joke. And it was a great bar in Carroll Gardens. And I remember I was there with my then girlfriend, and we were there to watch the Steelers fan. We were watching the Steelers game. And there was this guy holding court over in the corner, loud as fuck. Obviously.
Right.
And I remember I was getting bored of the Steelers game. I just started gravitating towards him. And I mean, as much as he made my ears bleed, I thought he was hilarious. And then I was able, this is when Greg and I were still getting along, so I could still recommend guests without him saying nope. But I was able to get him on like red eye, gosh, like 3 or 4 days later. And that was how we first met. And it's been a nightmare ever since.
You guys seem inseparable. And that actually kind of weirds me out because you guys are
over a little bit.
Yeah.
Geno's a lot of fun to hang out with, but I will say, wear arm pads. Holy shit.
Yes.
I know, you walked out pretty bruised.
I walked out bruised from the comedy club in Chicago. We hung out.
You talk about that all the time, like the hitting in the shoulder thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Always.
I think it's an Italian thing.
Is it?
And he's incredibly lonely. The only female he's been around is his cat Six.
Yes.
So he just wants human connection, and the only way he knows is to bruise the people he's with.
She's not wrong.
No, not at all. Now, Joe, this thing and I watched this all play out on the internet. You probably know what I'm going to ask you here, but you got to tell me the whole impetus and how that all came up with the Kung Flu incident. You got to tell me.
Let me tell you, this has been so frustrating for me. My Wikipedia page, this is now an entry on my Wikipedia page, which I've tried to change. I don't know how to change it.
I'm not allowed to edit Wikipedia. I tried to get it out.
I got a text from Chrissy Mayer, who has a show on Compound Media.
Yep.
And she said, hey, which by the way, all comedians out of work at the start of pandemic. She's like, I'm trying to do something creative. I'm asking lots of people to lip sync to Kung Fu fighting because she's like, you can say Kung Fu or Kung Flu, whatever you want. I am doing a satirical video to make fun of the celebrities, the tone deaf celebrities who did that Beatles song that was at the beginning of the pandemic. She's like, I'm trying to point out how ridiculous it is. So there was about 20 of us in this video, Bill included, who did a lip sync. I think I'm in the video for like 2 seconds, 2.5 seconds.
Didn't matter.
Doesn't matter because after she tweeted it out, a huge group of people
10
were. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
but
those assholes.
Internet standards, they're working like they're hundreds of people.
Minority.
We're very offended by it. And that's the thing with satire. Some people just don't understand it. They take it at face value. They don't kind of see the layered intelligence to it.
It's comedy.
Right.
People have to relax.
And if you don't think it's funny, and that's okay. There certainly are people who don't, and to some people it's insensitive, and that's okay. But what they're actually doing is bringing more attention to something that they're saying is really harmful and hurtful. So that's what I'm so shocked by, is that they could have just let this go. They're saying, you're not famous. What do you mean you're famous? We're not saying we are. We're making fun of the famous celebrities.
Right.
But you're essentially creating fame, like creating a buzz around something that you apparently hate so much. So I was just trying to help a comedian friend out because they're trying to do something creative. And as a result, I'm like having to still deal with like the backlash from it.
We'll get rid of it.
Yeah, the funny thing is that I think if you're not part of the joke, you are the joke.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous how people just get angered by humor. I mean, we saw Louis C.K. at a nightclub in Chicago before we moved out here. And this is after all the shit went down with him. And he came out, very first thing he did was open up that box and said, how was your summer? And just opened that way. And you're like, okay. And he talked all about it. He just threw it open. And it's like, people have to just understand what is comedy, what is, the actions of people, the actions they take, and just relax.
Well, and I'm fine with people having their reactions to it or being offended by it or whatever. It's the impetus then to shut the people down behind it, to go after their livelihoods and treat them as though they are no longer a part of society, that they've now become these outcasts who aren't welcome. And that's where I have a problem, is people trying to just silence everyone.
Well, and it's like the reaction has been more threatening than the actual video.
It's reverse bullying.
Yeah.
It's funny that you mentioned Louis C.K. because in a roundabout way, it's how I first fell in love with Joe. I think the first time
Where's this going?
not in that way, you know.
Wait, can you tell this story a little slower? This
Yeah.
might get sexy.
Well, but like the first time she came on the show, thanks to Twitter, getting us together, and this was way before the Louis C.K. thing happened. It was a while ago. But we were talking about, I don't know what we were talking about, but I remember I quoted, I believe it was Louis C.K., about how he had just watched Schindler's List. And he was thinking that there's that one scene where there's this one girl in Schindler's List where when the Jews are being escorted out after Blitzkrieg or something, not Blitzkrieg, Kristallnacht, and she's just yelling out, "Goodbye, Jews! Goodbye, Jews!" And Louis C.K.'s talking about how there's this little girl, there's this tape of all these kids auditioning of just them yelling out that is yet to see the light of day. And then Joanne comes like an assassin. Joanne goes, and she goes, "Bill, no, it's even worse than that. They've got those showbiz moms that are behind the scenes. Louder. More.
Get the J out there. Good.
Better diction, yes.
And right then and there, I'm like, that's the ghost.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect pick.
Absolutely.
Perfect timing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, perfect.
Well, you talk about the whole cancel culture, and what do you guys think, or did you get a chance to read the Harper's open letter?
No, I did not.
I have not read this. Oh, I tend to stay away from open letters. Because
generally they're a bad
they
thing.
create dialogues.
Yeah, they
And
do.
I'm generally against an open and honest conversation that
Although,
creates an honest dialogue.
Fair enough.
Understood.
That's the word mindful. Don't
Yes,
think I don't hear that
mindful.
now. Yeah, one of my least favorite words.
But please tell me what I missed in this open letter.
A lot of writers and publishers, journalists created an open letter that was published in Harper's Magazine regarding cancel culture and asking for there to be an open dialogue regarding free speech and personal opinions, and saying that so many writers and journalists have been silenced because they're afraid or they've been mob attacked by their opinions. And it's had two sides of an effect. One being, people outraged that they have the audacity to suggest people should be allowed to have opinions. And then the other side, people saying, yes, we need more conversations. So it's generated a ton of press, especially since J.K. Rowling is one of the people who signed it. And it's turned into this incredible debate about not just free speech, but, equality for minorities. It's kind of erupting into a very scary conversation now.
It's a very scary, easy endorphin rush for people that are just constantly looking for people to cancel. And I don't know how this movie's going to end. I don't know if we're going to write ourselves as far as, and I hate that cliche, the whole pendulum.
I know.
Yeah.
I hate that.
I know.
Now I'm using it. But I don't know if the pendulum's going to shift. But right now, it is all that, and the quick endorphin rush you get from doing that.
Just imagine the cancel culture if it was around when George Carlin, Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you just look at comedians and then writers.
Exactly. Like Ray Bradbury.
Right.
I mean, he predicted this.
No, it's really alarming.
I know.
One of my catchphrases that I developed when I was at Fox News and I've carried over onto Mornin is "Let the market decide."
Mm-hmm.
So it's really been or what used to be, if you didn't like what someone said, or you didn't like their content or their business, you don't go to them, right?
Right.
Like you have every right. Let the market decide. They won't get your business.
Right.
You won't go to their shows, you won't buy their albums, whatever it might be. But now it's not let the market decide. It's like, I'm going to burn the market down so nobody can shop here.
Yeah.
And it's like, but that's not how it should be. I read a tweet from a while ago where it's like, yeah, freedom of speech is great, but it still allows freedom of response. Like people can, there are repercussions to that. However, it's not just a repercussion now, it's like a tidal wave of
Right.
a reaction, which
It's destruction.
exactly, it's not like an appropriate response to something that you don't like, unfortunately.
But you guys are lucky in the fact that you're behind a paywall,
Oh,
right?
Oh,
And
So
that's the beauty of compound
that
media, and
is
that's
the
why
beauty
Anthony
of that
created
network.
it.
Yeah. And plus, people know what they're getting into when they sign up to Compound Media. It's not like, well, I'm going to go see, like, I'll use your example of Kelly Ripa. You know, I'm going to go see Kelly Ripa over at Compound.
Well, yeah, you
No.
can't hate watch it. You have to watch it because you're subscribed. So.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. You know, in a certain way, sometimes we do wish that, because we are on the tamer end a lot of times of some of the content on the shows. So we wish that we could reach some maybe more people. You know, that paywall often prevents people from just like checking us out and like seeing what's up.
Right.
We do hope there might be some things in the works that allow more people to kind of see content without having to
Oh,
pay.
that's
I
cool.
don't want to reveal too much because truthfully I don't know anything about it, but that could be down the road an option, which could be nice. But again, it might be limited, the things that are available, because it isn't everyone's cup of tea. But that's the thing, like, you don't have to subscribe if it's not something you don't like.
Well, I can tell you and tell all of our audience that you have to sign up to Compound Media, because I think that, you know, seeing Bill and Joe, it's an amazing show.
Thank you.
Well,
you guys have such a great structure. Yeah, and we're coming on the show. So yeah, all our fans got to go run out there and subscribe, because we'll be on at the end of July. Sorry.
July. And by it again, I now have to emphasize the point that it will be at 10 a.m. So I got to switch all the actual times you'll be zoomed in. But and we're looking very much forward to it, because God, you guys are awesome.
Oh, well, we can't thank you guys enough for being on.
Yeah, really appreciate it.
Yeah, we had a blast here. I'm sure we'll have a blast on your show, and
that's fine.
Everyone go out and subscribe. So that's the key takeaway today is go subscribe. Make sure that you check these guys out. Compoundmedia.com, right?
And thanks to everybody who's been hanging out in the chat. We haven't been able to address everybody. Personally, I apologize, but you know how we roll.
There's a
here.
lot of people in the chat with a lot of stuff. But
Tarmac has been here, Bob's Adventure.
So
Gemma was in here earlier. A lot of people.
You're not going to get to them.
Thank you so much for watching.
You see a lot of crying emojis, laughing.
You think Geno?
Geno is totally on
how
there.
to use the YouTube? No, please.
It only took like 400 tries to get him in the stream, and we had him on a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, we had Geno on a couple of weeks ago on this live, and he's just like, I can't figure it out, man.
You're like, press the button.
Yeah, squishy cat emoji.
Yeah.
He's the worst. The absolute worst.
Guys, thank you so much for coming on.
Oh, man, thanks for having us.
You guys are awesome. Again, we're looking forward to seeing you guys at the end of the month. And everyone go subscribe and have a great rest of the weekend.
Cheers, y'all.
We will chat with you soon.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks. Take care.
Sorry about your